Okay, this is a really quick one. If you're looking to find your greatest common factor, sometimes it's not obvious what it's going to be. So you can always use your prime factors. You can always use the techniques we've learned before to prime factor numbers and use them on variables as well in order to get a more certain or a more concrete handle on which ones are the common factors. So if we have an expression like this one, 6x to the fourth minus 12x cubed plus 4x squared, this is a trinomial here. We know for sure these are all even numbers. We can pull out a 2. It feels like we could pull out some x's. In order to be certain about exactly what we can pull out, we could take our first term and break the coefficient into its factors, 2 times 3. And we can break the variable into its factors. Here it's x times x times x times x. There's 4 of them. Do the same thing with the second term. 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. And x cubed is x times x times x. And 4 is 2 times 2, which is leading us to our last bit here. X squared is x times x. And then just find all of the bits that are in common between all three. So there is a 2 here, a 2 there, and a 2 there. Okay, that's in common. That's something that they all share. There's an x and an x, over here an x and an x, over here an x and an x. That's something that they all share. So if you go through and you make like a mark to show what you're counting as being in common, here I've used little green underlines, then if it appears in all 3 of them, or if it's not a trinomial, all 2 or all 4 or whatever, we know that that's a common factor. So 2 times x, there's a 2 and an x that appear in all of them. 2x, 2x. So my common factor is 2x squared, and I'm sure that it's my greatest common factor because I used prime factors to find it, and they never let you down. So if I pull 2x squared out, what do I have remaining? Well, what's remaining in my first term here is a 3 and 2 x's. So I write a 3 and 2 x's, which is 3x squared. In my second term, what's remaining is a 2, a 3, and an x. So a 2, a 3, and an x make negative 6x. What's remaining in my last term is just that 2, so I write just that 2. And for this one here, I've pulled out a greatest common factor, and 3x squared minus 6x plus 2, this bit in here is what we would call prime, which means we can't factor it any further. How do you know it's prime? By trying and trying and trying to factor it and finding out that you can't. But I'll save you the trouble and just say that for this particular one, you can't. Okay, so this was a really quick one, just talking about how you can use prime factors to be more certain about whether you've got the GCF for real or not.